In this video, we are going to build the simple Unity game. I am also going to show a bit about reorganizing windows in the editor and some extra organizational bits we can add to our code. Okay, so first we're going to go with building our game. So go to File, Build Settings, and as you can see, here's our scenes in the build. There's a variety of platforms that we can export our game to, but some of them probably only involve having a paid subscription. So we're just going to go with Windows, and we are going to build our game. So we'll name it Simple Unity Game, and we'll save it. Yeah, I want to replace that. I previously built the game because the initial build takes a good while to build, and I didn't want to show that in the video, because that would take a while. And so here we are. Here's our simple Unity game. Let's give it a bit of a play just to see what it looks like outside of the editor. Yeah, those settings are fine. And you can see we can move around, pick up keys, get hurt, pick up more keys. And that's that. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk about play mode and how we can add a little edit. So if we go to our player preferences and go to colors, there's play mode tint. When you press play in the editor, it will start playing the game, but it may be a bit hard to tell if the game is actually playing. So that could be unfortunate if you make any changes and you didn't realize you were in play mode. So you can change the play mode tint here, and when we click play, the color of the editor will change, signifying that we are in play mode. So that's handy to prevent some confusion. We can also grab these windows as we've done earlier on just to reorganize our view, which is what I'm going to do now. I personally like to go with one column layout. I just feel that everything's more compact. I'm going to put that here. And drag this down a little bit and put our game window here. Drag that here. And so we have a little better view of our project. I'm going to save project. I'm not sure if that actually saves this layout, but it's handy enough to know. So now I'm going to show some little extra coding features. Okay, so I'll explain what they are, and then I'll show them in the inspector. Okay, so public variables will naturally appear in the inspector, and private variables will not. There's actually a way that we can show private variables and hide public variables, so we're going to do that now. Let's, on our key manager, go hide an inspector, which will hide a public variable. And this is serialized field, which will show a private variable. This is a tooltip which will give a bit of info when you hover over the variable. So, that just provides some extra context to our variables. That doesn't require us to go into the code and look at the notes, well, the comments, which are hopefully there. We can't always predict that. Then we'll set a range. This allows us to have a variable locked between two values, a minimum value and a maximum value. This can help just prevent things from getting too extreme one side or too extreme the other. Next, we will make a header. Headers will generally show up in the inspector, and this just helps organize our code, especially since this specific script has a lot of variables, so it would actually be handy to have. Put another header here. And we will put a space in between them. It's pretty self-explanatory what the space does. It will add some spacing in the inspector. Next, we are going to add a function description. Some functions that we've had with Unity will generally show kind of tooltip of what it does. So this is a way that we can add our own tooltip. Hit the / 3 times, and we've got our summary. I'm gonna copy and paste that there. So if we go to enemy movement and find our lose life function, we can see that we have a little bit of a summary there. This won't come up in the inspector or anything, but it's just useful to have if we're dealing with a lot of scripts calling other functions from other scripts, so it just helps us to know what's doing what. If we're dealing with a noticeably larger code, like this, or this, we can add a region. Just gonna put it there. So this will allow us to close up a bit of our script, making it easier to just zone in on what matters. Alright, so we'll save those scripts and we'll wait a bit just for everything of the editor to just process it all. Okay, so let's start with our camera. If we hover over the target, oh no, it's not processed yet. Okay, so here's our range. It'll keep it between these two ranges. Set that at 5. We can see that our private rigid body is now visible in the inspector, and this is generally how you'd want to do variables, unless the variable needs to be accessed by another script, because it's probably better to not have a variable public if it doesn't need to be public. We can see here how we have our player stats header, all those scripts, a space, UI features, and more of them. Go back here, and if we hover over, the object to camera will follow. And yep, that's our headset. Oh, or tooltip. I don't know why I said headset. And that is generally all of those features that I wanted to show you. So all those features will just help making organizing your script a little easier to do. You don't really need to do it too much here, since the scripts aren't that big, but if you were dealing with a bigger project, it would probably be best to know some little handy tips like that to make it easier for editing. At any rate, that is the end of my making a simple game in Unity. Thank you so much for reading and watching the posts in relation to it. Thank you.